Thank you for checking out Lakehead International's videos. You're about to watch one of our Lakehead International live webinars, a fun and informative way to learn more about Lakehead while also meeting faculty, staff, and current students. If you have any questions throughout today's video, please comment below. Otherwise, let's get started. As you prepare for your next academic journey, of course, an important part of your consideration is going to be where to study. And you've already identified Canada as one of the premier destinations for studying abroad, but I want to help you better understand as to why we feel Canada is a great option for international students choosing to study internationally. We hope that our students are able to thrive in a safe, peaceful, and inclusive society. Canada is recognized as one of the safest countries in the world, and we're also a fairly young country that celebrates both diversity as well as inclusion. So as an international student, you should feel safe and welcomed in this happy and peaceful nation. We're also fairly proud of our rankings in terms of global standing. So we're the top 2 best countries in the world. We're in the top 11 most peaceful countries in the world. And Canada is actually ranked in the top 5 out of 89 on a list of the best countries for quality of life. Beyond those reasons, though, international students typically choose Canada because of the employment benefits. When you choose Canada, you're also choosing employment. So you'll have the opportunity to earn while you learn. You can take advantage of that, and you can use your study permit, which will allow you to actually work during your studies. So all international students are actually allowed to work up to 24 hours per week during the academic school year, and then any scheduled breaks, students can work full-time hours, which is pretty incredible, so that you can help pay for the costs of your education, but also perhaps start to build a little bit of savings for your personal expenses and beyond that. When you also study in Canada, though, you are looking at perhaps what's next. And so you can gain the knowledge and the skills and experience for a good career back home, but perhaps you want to also stay here in Canada. So all of Lakehead's programs are eligible to be considered for the maximum postgraduate work permit, which is 3 years. This will give you, again, that opportunity to build knowledge and skills and experience in the Canadian workforce to perhaps go home with that and use that to your advantage, or in the next stage, if you would like to stay in Canada and become a permanent resident. By completing a Canadian university degree, you'll actually receive bonus points or extra points towards that PR application. Now, Canada is a very large country, and that all considering, we are located in the province of Ontario. And so our 2 hometowns are in Thunder Bay and Orillia. We are very proud of these hometowns. They're small and they're safe, and they're affordable for our students. But beyond that, Ontario itself is an incredible province. Our education system is second to none. We have a wealth of accredited universities. So all public universities in Ontario, including Lakehead, go through a rigorous quality assurance by the Ontario Ministry to ensure that the programs we deliver, the academics that we support, are top notch. As a province, we also have the highest employment rate for our graduates of Ontario universities. And so we have an employment ranking of 95.1% are receiving jobs within 2 years after graduation. And of course, an important consideration of moving and studying abroad is making sure that you're going to have a safe place to call home. And so housing is certainly available both on campus as well as off campus. There's ample opportunities for you in our hometowns of Thunder Bay and Orillia. Diving a bit deeper into Lakehead University, I want you to take a moment to consider we are a smaller institution with under 10,000 students, but we certainly pack a punch in terms of rankings. We're considered in the top 3 in Canada for research. We're the #1 university with under 10,000 students in North America. We're in Canada's top 5, pardon me, and we're actually the #1 in Ontario. And our employment rankings actually go above and beyond the Ontario average. At 97.4% of our students, or grads, I should say, are actually employed within 2 years after walking across that stage. Diving a bit deeper, as I noted, we're an Ontario accredited university with over 9,000 students, of which over 1,900 international students. So we're still very much a Canadian university, but a very diverse student population with over 80 nations represented in our student body alone. all of those students are studying a wide range of programming. And one of the best things about Lakehead is because we're a smaller institution, although diverse, we have a rich history of offering small classroom experiences, which we feel really builds on that academic experience and furthermore helps you secure incredible employment after that. With that being said, let's dive into today's presentation now. Of course, today we're going to chat about economics, but taking a step back first, our areas of study include business administration, engineering, science and environmental studies, natural resources management, education, social sciences and humanities, health and behavioral sciences, law, and graduate studies. On that note, though, I think it's time to dive into today's topic and why most likely you've joined us, and that's to meet our special guest from the Department of Economics. So I'll pass over to Dr. Petrunia to introduce himself first.
Thank you, Jordan. My name is Robert Petrunia, and my main function with respect to students is to provide advising for undergraduate students. So that involves help with course selection and or looking towards degree. And now I'll turn it over to Cam Yu.
Oh, hi. Thank you. My name is Cam Yu. I'm an associate professor, and I teach both undergrad and graduate courses. It's nice to be here today.
Awesome. Well, thank you again to both of you for joining us. I'm excited to hear from the two of you about your expertise in your own field. I facilitate the webinar itself, but I would be not much without our special guest. So thank you again for joining us. I'll kick it off with a quick overview into economics and share more about which programs we offer. So if you're a student that's joining us maybe out of high school or you've done college already, perhaps you're transferring from another university or college, you could join us in one of many undergraduate programs. We offer Bachelor of Arts programs. We have Honors Bachelor of Arts programs. We also have an Honors Bachelor of Science. Perhaps maybe you're joining this webinar out of passion for economics, but you're pursuing a different major. You could always minor in economics with us. At the graduate level, so those students that already have their bachelor's degree from perhaps a university around the world or even here in Canada, maybe even Lakehead itself, we have a Master's of Arts in Economics. All of our programs are offered on our Thunder Bay campus. Once again, giving you that broad overview of what Lakehead's economics entails. Essentially, it's the study of social science where it's dedicated to the field and study of decision-making under scarcity and the factors that influence wealth. Economics involves financial topics and broader historical and sociological, as well as cultural, ranging from microeconomics to governments, industries, and central banking, which is macroeconomics. This is a flashback for me as a business graduate here at Lakehead University. I did the economics, and it's all coming back to me as I share more details about it. But as an economics student, you'll actually be able to gain the insight into long-term effects of policy on communities by studying topics such as resource allocation, current policy debates, statistics, economic theory, incentives, economic metrics, decision-making, and then, of course, you'll also gain marketable edge through the field and specialty courses focused on labor, natural resources, and industrial organization. That's a quick overview of economics here at Lakehead University. I'm going to pass over to Dr. Petrunia to share more details about our undergraduate students and that first year at a glance. So when you join us, hopefully this upcoming fall, what can you anticipate to study?
Thank you again, and we promise we'll give Jordan a test at the end of this to see how much he remembers. But anyways, so we have I'll just talk about the undergraduate program here. Talk about it in general, what's consistent across the programs. There's 4 basics programs that we offer. There's some sub-programs within those. Generally, what happens is you take Economics 1100 in your first year. This is a 1 full credit equivalent course, 1 FCE course. An FCE course is 1 FCE is typically run over the year, so it's across 2 semesters typically. We talk about FCE and half credit equivalents. Half FCE, those are typically one semester courses. So those run either in the fall or winter. And so then once you do the principles in first year, then you move on into your second, third, and fourth years. And the second year has a lot of structure in it. You take microeconomics, macroeconomics. And then in your third and fourth year, those are generally reserved for more specialized field courses, subfield courses in economics, such things that's listed here: public finance, environmental economics, health economics, money and banking, monetary economics, and there's others. This is not an exclusive list. We have other topic courses that are available as well.
And noting that, of course, for our students that are joining us, you'll be coming into first year, perhaps this fall. Economics is ever evolving, as most topics are and fields of studies are. So you could look forward to evolving courses as you continue on your Lakehead career path, which is going to help you really carve out your own Lakehead degree, which is always exciting. I know from personal experience, and I hear it from students, the passions of our current students and what is the topic of today is also being integrated into studies on a regular basis. So you may one day have influence on courses that will come up in the future as well. Diving a bit deeper, I'll pass back to Dr. Petrunia to share more as students pick majors and whatnot.
I'll just add two things on top of that. You're on top of me. I'll add that my colleague, Dr. Yu, is very good at creating new courses. He's done a number, and you know, topics like read the newspaper, and topics come up, and these are covered in classes, even the ones listed there, like money and banking and monetary economics. The big thing today is inflation. That's discussed in those classes. It's discussed in the macro. So there definitely is a role to what's going on out there in the world. Now our programs. Okay, so I mentioned there's basically 4 programs. There are some sub-programs. So for example, there's the first 2 programs here, the economics and the economics and political science program. They have an honors Bachelor of Arts option or just a regular Bachelor of Arts option. The regular BA is either a 3-year or a 4-year BA. So those are options as well. The stream, the distinguishing feature is from the economics HBA versus the regular BA is that there's extra courses. And so in first year, I mentioned the FCE and half FCE courses. This is the structure in first year across the programs. They're very similar. You have fewer options in the economics and poli-sci program because you will be doing also political science courses. There's business and quantitative analysis in the economics and poli-sci program. That's done in second year in the regular economics program. And then you go into second year, this is when you do your micro and macro intermediate courses. Those are the intermediate micro courses, 2 half credit courses, and so is the macro. And that's done in both of these programs. What else can I say? And then for the other 2 programs, again, it's kind of what distinguishes the programs is kind of what's kind of emphasized. The economics program emphasis is on the economics courses, economics and poli-sci, while the emphasis is on economic courses and political science courses. For the math and economics program on the next page, the emphasis is, of course, going to be on mathematics courses and economics courses. And so in this, the requirements here are some calculus courses in first year, your economics 1100s there. None of these, it's not listed, but you have to take it across the 4 programs here, the 4 streams if you'd like. And then you have some options there, some social science type B courses, have some English, history, or philosophy courses there. And then a type C, which is a natural science or mathematics course. the resource and environmental economics course program, as opposed to the other three, this one is an HBSC. The other three are either BAs or HBA programs. So this is the Honors Bachelor of Science program. It combines economics. It combines economics with a little more mathematics here and environmental studies courses. It's meant to be a little bit more technical with the mathematics requirement, and then also give a broader application with the environmental and resource courses to study from. And so again, it kind of restricts your choices here by doing this combined economic and environmental focus, because you have to take courses in both of those subjects. And that's, I don't think I have too much else to say about these 4 programs.
Awesome. I'll speak broadly to the fact that as viewers may have seen, you are required to take, in some cases, 1 FCE and Type B courses. If we look to our mathematics and economics here, or for example, in the economics stream, you had 1 1/2 FCE in open electives. This is your opportunity to then define and carve out that Lakehead degree that's unique to you. So your friends that start with you and as you make friends in your first year may not have the exact same path in the next 4 years ahead of them, or perhaps 3 years. But that doesn't mean that when you graduate, you'll still have similar degrees. You're just going to be able to pursue your passions. So I like to share an example of when I did business. One of my opportunities where I took an open elective was doing a course in visual arts. So not often do you see the business students in the visual arts studios, but I wanted to pursue Photoshop as a course. As an economics student, you could certainly do something along those lines. There's a wide variety, and that's why I like to also share and reflect back on those areas of study that we looked at earlier in where you may be able to look for electives down the road. So we will shift gears here and we'll pass over to Dr. Yu, who's going to chat more about graduate studies, the MA course that we offer, and that first year at a glance.
Yeah, the MA degree in economics is a 2-year program. And in the first year, students normally take the so-called 6 core courses. And they are mathematical, economics, econometrics, and macroeconomics. And in the second term, they take the microeconomics as well. But the student needs 2 other so-called elective or optional courses. We offer those courses in a wide variety of areas, such as what you list on the slide. We have public economics like fiscal federalism, monetary economics, and if you want to challenge yourself a little bit more technical, vector auto-regression and natural resource economic as well. This year, I'm teaching one called index number theory. Is basically how we measure economic indexes like the consumer price index and the GDP, the gross domestic product. After they after they finish the core courses in the first year, they will engage with a supervisor to find a topic. One of the degree requirement is to write a research paper, and they can engage with any of our faculty member and talk to them, then find a mutually agreed topic. And in my opinion, that's a very valuable experience because it's like the first step into economic research. I personally published paper with a graduate student with their research paper. So it will be a wonderful experience.
I'm glad that you mentioned that we offer that extended research paper in the latter term. So it gives students opportunities in their fall and winter courses to start building relationships and building connections with professors. Perhaps at that point, new topics or new research areas are revealed to them, or they develop passion for those areas, and that might influence where down the road they may wish to further their studies and do a bit deeper research. We'll have an opportunity to hear from both of our special guests about active research that they're conducting here at Lakehead. But before we do that, we'll shift gears and we'll chat about the other aspect of our Masters of Arts in Economics program, which is our computer cooperative education aspect. So I'll pass over to Dr. Yu to share more about what that looks like and what it entails.
Yeah, our MA program also has co-op options. What the student do is to finish their first year of study, and then basically in that summer after the first year they will go and find a job, and they can work for 2 terms and then they come back and finish the rest of the degree requirement. But it is not a very kind of popular option. I have a little bit of economic argument here. I always advise the student to graduate as soon as possible and find a real job after they graduate. And but some students would like to have some kind of practical experience before they graduate. And our program structure allow for that as well.
It's great that they have the flexibility, because you certainly will find students that are going to be looking for a fast track path to graduate. They're excited to enter the workforce, whereas other students may, as you like to put it, or as you put it, pardon me, they want to apply their theory and gain practical knowledge while still having the opportunity to have the supports of the institution behind them. They earn money, of course, on these co-op experiences, so they're paid work terms. We have a dedicated career services and co-op team, which will actually help facilitate them and have over 140 national and international partners. A small anecdote here is we actually hosted a co-op in our office here at Lakehead International from an economics master's student. And she was really successful in being able to help us do research and forecasting related to our work. So I loved having her. Co-op is a really great option for those students that see the need for it or want to seek out that applying theory into practice. However, like Dr. Yu mentioned, if you're ready to move into the career and workforce sooner than later, you can also stick with the 2-year degree. Alrighty, so I think it's time to share with the audience, and I'll open the floor to both of you. What are the advantages to studying economics at Lakehead University? Why should a future student, if they've perhaps applied to several institutions, what makes Lakehead a good option for them?
Well, why don't I start? I think the one you've mentioned already, the small class sizes, especially at the upper years. We start with fairly large class sizes in the first year, but then they drop fairly quickly once you get into those topic courses in the 3rd, 4th year level. And that just naturally transitions to things like at an undergraduate level, if you're doing the honors, you have to do a research paper as well. And it naturally transitions to finding a research topic. And so making those connections with the student and the professor allows for that. I believe that also works at the graduate level. Cam can speak more about that. So that's number one. Another one is that I think we're well connected with industry and other government. And so this allows for the opportunities for students when they graduate to move on and find employment, job opportunities. We can help the students to make connections with various employers, both in town and out of town, both at the government level, both at the provincial government, federal government, and so on. And again, that works at both the undergraduate level and the graduate level. Cam, would you like to add anything?
Wow, well said. Well, I would like to emphasize that for our graduate program and undergrad as well, we take teaching and learning very seriously, and we have a really good reputation for students who wants to go on to a PhD program over North America, and they find good jobs as well. And we normally have a really close working relationship with the graduate student. As I said before, I publish paper with graduate student, and that helped their career a lot actually. So yeah, we take teaching very seriously.
And
I'll
working with the students very seriously as well, regardless of whether we're in class or or out of class, and we're a fun bunch.
I'll take the opportunity. I know the two of you are humble and not saying this, but our core faculty members are leaders in their field and active researchers on an international scale. So that's always important to note, to recognize that being a smaller institution, we have a significant impact in several fields of study, and economics is certainly one of them. I'll also even note, going back to Dr. Petrunia and something I talked about, the small class sizes, we laugh and I chuckle to myself because we look at first year and we go, first year does have some large classes. On a Lakehead lens, though, a large class, 50, 60, maybe 100 students. But in comparison to our fellow institutions here in Canada, a large class for them is several hundred students. So it's something that I always clarify, but I find is a lighthearted moment to really set the stage of what is a small class to Lakehead. In those upper years, you're looking at the opportunity where you are in classrooms 15, 20 students maybe, and that one-on-one time that you have with your peers and the connections you can build with your classmates, but more importantly, the access to your professors is where, as both of our guests here mentioned today, you'll then be able to perhaps pursue research and get a better understanding and more in-depth education. So that's the advantages at Lakehead. I also would love to hear from both of you about the research you're currently doing here on campus. So we'll switch things up and we'll go to Dr. Yu first.
Yeah, I my research area, as I said, is in index number theory. Before I came to Lakehead, I work at Statistics Canada. I work at the Consumer Prices Division, and there we do research on how to measure the price index and quantity index and things like that. And I'm teaching that course right now this term. It is not a very commonly taught graduate course in North America. I think we are just a few institutions who do that. But for example, right now, the inflation dynamic over the world is kind of a very hot topic. But how do we measure inflation? That's a very interesting question.
It certainly is. I know if for our viewers, if you're reading news articles that are based in Canada and North America specifically, the inflation seems to come across every news article almost, but certainly it is a hot topic, and to hear that that's something that we're delivering right now and is relevant to economics today and not necessarily relevant. It's not economics of the past. It's looking ahead to the future and learning about that, making you more career ready and employable to when you graduate. We'll pass over to Dr. Petrunia now to share more about what research he's conducting.
Thank you. So traditionally, I use administrative data that looks at firms, businesses, and try to study growth patterns, survival patterns of businesses in the economy, especially new businesses. and look at it from a lens of the impact of financing and financial variables on their prospects, both in terms of growth, the dynamics there on size dynamics, growth dynamics, and survival prospects, survival performance. Recently, I've expanded that, looking at firms and their involvement in trade. I've expanded it by also my research area by looking at the something relatively recent, the impact of the COVID and COVID restrictions on economic activities. And by economic activities, there's a couple areas I've looked at: labor market activities, participation in the workforce. So COVID restrictions reduce participation in the labor market by people. The other thing I've looked at is also the impact of COVID and COVID restrictions on business and consumer activity. You have these restrictions in place, and it restricts movement of individuals, and then businesses might not be open because of the restricted movement of individuals. So we've looked at the dining sector of the economy, bars and restaurant, basically food services and drinking establishments, and see what happens to them as the restrictions change over the COVID pandemic. And then the last area, recently I've started some work in banking competition, looking at trying to get determinants of entry and exit, or really entry of banks into local areas, local communities, local towns. I'll follow up on something Cam said. So the recent research has all these topics, the stuff on the COVID, both the labor market studies and the consumer business activity, and the stuff looking at banking competition. This is relatively new for me. All this stuff has involved students. So I do have a co-authored paper with one student, the policy piece, that's COVID in the labor market. I have another former student that's working, we're working on a paper with the COVID pandemic and the business consumer activity. And this recent stuff looking at banking competition. There's a student I'm currently working at here who's currently a student, and she's looking at it, and she's doing it as part of her honors thesis. But she's a math student, so we do get other students from other disciplines and bring them in. I try to bring them in, so this has been a good opportunity for her as her math thesis to do a topic that's related to economics. So anyways, yeah, so it's I haven't traditionally worked with students. Given my research area, it's been hard. Relatively recent, in the last 5 years or so, I found it easier, given the adding my research area of expertise and just going back, kind of research activity combined with like the advantages of Lakehead. Both Cam and I, and Lakehead economics at Lakehead, both Cam and I have worked with students, published papers with students, and that's very important.
Awesome. Well, thank you to both of you for sharing more about the important research you're conducting. And I'm excited to hear, obviously, that students are involved and participating actively in that. Of course, also while being provided the opportunities, as we discussed already, to conduct their own research. We're going to shift gears here and chat about other opportunities where students can get involved. And this actually reflects on the Bank of Canada's Governor's Challenge, which is where teams of students across the nation come together and they actually do a presentation to judges from the Bank of Canada, typically their interest rate policy recommendations. So in this photo, this is a team from Lakehead where 28 universities from across Canada took part in the competition, which designed to promote the understanding of the role that monetary policies play in Canada's economy. This competition is a great example of the way that the Department of Economics, of course, is engaging in experiential learning, where you can apply that theory and that knowledge you're gaining in each of your courses. And actually then can go into the real world and do something with it. In this photo, this group of students is so smiley because they were happy to announce that they moved to the final round in Ottawa that year. So that was very exciting. Again, being a smaller institution, consistently, whether it's Department of Economics or across our institution, we typically show up to these competitions and move forward, if not place in some of the top ranks. So we're always pleased and we celebrate these opportunities and these successes widely. As we come full circle to our presentation about what is economics at Lakehead, why you might wish to consider it as a top contender, you also will be looking to what are the career prospects? What is the Lakehead degree going to provide me? So graduating from economics, by no means is this exhaustive. Where our grads have gone before, or where you could go in years' time. But it gives you a better idea of the variety of careers that you can pursue with this degree. With that being said, also thinking back to some of those electives that you're going to have the flexibility to pursue and those passions that you may wish to undertake, that's where you can also start to craft your Lakehead degree and know where you're going to take that. So for me, as a business student, taking my Photoshop course has now naturally blended into my career in digital marketing. For a student in economics, you may wish to take elective courses that are going to help you focus on international trade, perhaps. Just giving you a better idea of how you can make the most of your Lakehead degree. And on the note of careers and graduating, I would be remiss not to mention one of our outstanding alumni. He's an economics graduate. So
all the lecturers in my department have made significant impact on me, but specifically I would say the former chair of the program, Robert Petrunia. I had the opportunity of having him to supervise me for my thesis project. I would say the impact he had on me was believing in me. He always wanted to know what I was thinking, what my ideas were, and he never threw any of my ideas away. And I think it has really impacted me significantly because I was really wondering if I could do this, but he really believed in me and I did it, and it was great. I am Sharif Ibrahim. I am a Master of Arts student in Economics at Lakehead University. I'm in my second year. I'm originally from Ghana, which is in Africa, and I did grow up in Accra, which is a city in Ghana. I actually found Lakehead when I was going through my research online for universities abroad, specifically in Canada to have my master's degree, and Lakehead did come up. I actually went for Lakehead specifically because of the small class size. I've always wanted a small class size. I've always wanted a class size where, you know, you could always, like, your lecturers know you, you know your lecturers, you always get to interact with them. You know, you can always have that one-on-one in person with them. So it was one main reason why I did go with Lakehead. And I would say definitely the course content. So I did go through the courses that were being offered at Lakehead, and definitely something that caught my eye. As an international student, I'll definitely say that Lakehead has made a lot of changes or impacts in my life, and I have learned to always ask. In Lakehead, any department you go to, any lecturer you speak to, whoever you find yourself meeting and asking any questions, they're always willing to help. They're always going the extra mile to give you all the information to the best of their knowledge. And even if they're unable to answer your question, they always make sure to direct you to the right person who would help you or assist you. So always ask, always ask. I'm a co-op student currently with the Ontario Ministry of Mines, where I do work as a statistics analyst. It's a very exciting job over there. I literally look into industry trends, trying to take a look at mineral productions in Ontario, looking at mineral reserves, looking at employment statistics here and there, as well as looking at other jurisdictions or other competitors like the United States and Australia as well. But then to dive a bit into the funding projects that I do evaluate, regarding the Critical Minerals Innovation Fund in Ontario to kind of bring innovative projects to boost Ontario in general's supply chain stability, when it comes to critical minerals, where exploration is a very high risk job to do. So what I do is always evaluate these requests that come in general, check financial stability of the company, as well as the projects that they are bringing on board. Is the project doable? What would be the benefits of the project to Ontario in the near future? And yeah, and it's been great, it's been exciting. Lakehead University, a truly Canadian experience.
So that's just one of our outstanding alumni. If you would like to hear more about alumni here at Lakehead University, you can always head over to our website, lakeheadu.ca/international. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, I want to encourage you to comment below or connect with us on social media. We can be found at Lakehead International on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Thanks for watching once again, and hopefully we'll see you at the next live webinar. Bye for now.